It all starts in your mind. We've all heard that one before, haven't we? But what's the actual meaning behind this cliche phrase? In this video, we'll break down the importance that your thoughts have on your reality, specifically in terms of your manifestations related to the law of attraction. We condensed a summary of chapters 1 through 12 of the Master Key System and composed this video to give you the most concise, helpful information possible. By the end of this video, you'll have some practical knowledge on the law of attraction, how it works, and how you can apply it. Let's begin. Let's start with the basics. Let's discuss just how important your thoughts are in creating your reality, using chapters 1 to 6 in the Master Key System as resources for this first section of the video. Then, we'll put this knowledge to work, so stay tuned and take notes if you'd like. Our subconscious mind is connected with the universal mind and brought into relation with the infinite constructive forces of the universe. If we use this power properly, our future is within our own deliberate control. All we need in order to accomplish our dreams is the ability to think, then act on the knowledge and bring it into manifestation.
Vibration is nothing but an idea. It's a law of the universe. Everything vibrates, nothing rests. We live in an ocean of motion. And it's the thoughts that you're thinking that you impress upon your subconscious mind that control the vibration the body's in. And that dictates how you act, but it also dictates what you attract.
The mind is static, stationary energy, and thought is dynamic, active energy, two sides of the same coin. Thought is the energizing force formed by converting static mind into dynamic mind. Every action and the following result is influenced by positive and negative thought. Therefore, every thought is a cause, and every condition or result is an effect. For this reason, it's absolutely essential that you control your thoughts so that you can bring forth only desirable conditions. Remember, the world within, aka your mind, is the cause, and the world without is the effect. So to change the effect, you must first change the cause and get your mind right. As I'm sure you're familiar with if you're watching this video, this ability to quote-unquote think things into existence is what the law of attraction is all about.
The simplest way to sum up the law of attraction is 3 words, okay? Ask, believe, receive. If you want to do another 3 words, thoughts are things. That what you think about, you actually bring about.
Our difficulties are largely due to confused ideas and ignorance of our true interests. The hard part is discovering the laws of nature so that we can adjust accordingly. Clear thinking and moral insight are therefore of immense value. All processes, including conscious and subconscious thought, need to rest on solid foundations. The conscious mind perceives and operates through the 5 physical senses: taste, smell, vision, hearing, and touch. Our conscious mind deals with the impressions and objects of the outward life. On the other hand, we have our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind doesn't quote-unquote filter out the same way the conscious mind does. It receives any suggestions as true and acts to fulfill the information into our physical reality. Those little comments you make about yourself when you look into the mirror without thinking twice about are exactly what the conscious mind works with to make what you impress onto it a reality. So, be careful how you judge yourself and others. Don't sabotage your future by constantly putting negative impressions in your mind. Like the old quote says, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right.
What are you giving attention and helping to grow? What are you focusing upon? Because what you're focusing upon, that's what's ultimately getting generated, getting created, and growing.
Like we just stated, it's important to eliminate any possible tendency to complain of conditions as they have been or as they are. You waste precious time and mental energy worrying if you're too far behind in life to try something new or to take a risk doing something you love. Our subconscious mind can't argue. It only acts. It accepts the conclusions of the objective mind as final. So, if you plant seeds of doubt and jealousy, you will only reap negative results because that's what you're subconsciously and sometimes consciously telling yourself you deserve. We can't state this enough, but it's important to emphasize that our thoughts become real things. Everything around you in the room right now started off as a thought in someone's head. They were then inspired to take action, then went through a lot of ups and downs in the process of business and/or personal life. But they stuck with it and had a clear, confident, and positive vision of the result. And eventually, they were able to produce the item, which you or someone else bought and is now in front of you. Our attitude of mind towards life determines the experiences which we are met with. It's like a lens or filter that lets through certain things into your perception while leaving everything else you're not in alignment with. Do you go into new environments judging the people around you? Or do you look at it as an opportunity to meet new friends and partners and find ways to bring value to the circumstance? The more we give, the more we receive. So try meeting new experiences with an open mind and positive mindset. It won't always be the easiest thing to do because sometimes life gets hard and our default is to dwell on the negative predicaments we may be put in. But learn to use that energy, transmute it, and put out into the world the energy you want to get back. We may not know how or when that energy will come back to us, but it will always find its way right back to the source. Most people allow their thoughts to dwell on selfish circumstances. This is an immature approach to life. When a mind becomes mature, it understands that the germ of defeat is in every selfish thought. The trained mind knows that every transaction must benefit every person who is in any way connected with the transaction, and any attempt to profit from the weakness or ignorance of another person will inevitably be to your disadvantage. This is because the individual is a part of the universal. A part cannot antagonize any other part of the whole, but on the contrary, the welfare of each part depends on the recognition of the interest of the whole.
The world within is controlled by the I, and that this I is part or one with the infinite I, which is the universal energy or spirit, usually called God.
The matter that composes all of the universe is largely passive. However, the mind is force, energy, and power. The mind shapes and controls the passive matter of the universe. As human beings, our greatest asset is the ability to think and create. And since thoughts are creative, you can create for yourself the things you desire. We're creatures who combine our creative nature with the resources around us to build civilizations and create technological breakthroughs for the betterment of humanity. In order to get more creative and eventually realize the life of our dreams, we have to properly use the power and energy we already have. If you can't properly use the few resources you have, why do you deserve more? It's the same way that many poor individuals who suddenly receive a large amount of money almost always lose it within a certain amount of time. They hadn't built up the foundation and properly understood how to use the resource of money that they already had. So, when they randomly won a large amount of money, they didn't have the knowledge and values to properly use it. Therefore, no matter how much or how little you have right now, make the most of it. Be grateful that you have even just a few tools and helpful people around you, and watch how everything eventually grows over time. Many times, at first, we might fail at manifestations because our desire is too broad and undefined. It isn't until the thought is sufficiently refined and concentrated that the realization will finally be manifested. It's the difference between imagining driving just any type of car versus precisely visualizing driving a BMW with a friend or family member in the passenger seat congratulating you on your new purchase. The first could manifest you into valeting someone's car back to them or only getting to test drive a car, while the second solidifies that you wanted a specific car and that the car is yours and not someone else's. It's a learning process, so don't get frustrated and discouraged in the beginning. Just keep refining and concentrating your thoughts on your desired outcomes. In life, we have to learn from each mistake and go back into the next action with this new perspective and knowledge about what to avoid doing in the future. Growth follows knowledge. Action follows inspiration. Opportunity follows perception. Always the spiritual first, then the realization. Now, let's put this knowledge to work. In chapters 7 through 12 of the Master Key System, the book outlines the steps to manifestation using the in-depth analysis we just discussed. Let's talk about the necessary steps to manifest your desires. The first step is idealization. Then comes the process of visualization. A sincere desire will bring a confident expectation, and this in turn must be reinforced by a firm demand. Make the world within beautiful and opulent, and the world without will express and manifest the condition that you have in the world within. You have to concentrate on the things you want, not on the things you don't want. Visualize a scenario which would only happen if you achieved or received what you desire. This will result in manifestation, like the car example we gave earlier. The law of attraction is impartial and doesn't distinguish between what we want and what we don't want, only what we concentrate on subconsciously. So, when we're too anxious, we manifest anxiety, fear, and distress. Especially when it's something we really want to happen. We end up constantly going back into our thoughts and planting seeds of doubt and anxiety into our subconscious mind. This disrupts the peace and distorts the directions we gave ourselves subconsciously. Doing this is the same as planting a seed and going back every few hours into our backyard garden and digging up the soil to see if the seed has made any progress, because we haven't seen any growth on the surface of the soil. Except in the case of manifestation, the garden is our mind. We dig back up the visualizations and input negative circumstances filled with, what if it doesn't manifest? How come it's taking so long? We know that digging up the soil in our backyard garden will damage the growth process and ruin the seed. But this is what many of us end up doing with our mental gardens.
First step is always to actually calm your mind, okay? Because in that panic mode, we're like, we need it now, but that's chaos stage, because there's so many different things that are flying through our head in that moment, and we need to understand thoughts equal vibration. Vibration equals attraction, so we attract everything that we think of, and we don't want all of that chaos to continue to manifest.
In order to be successful, we must make it our sole purpose to hold ideals of the conditions we wish to realize. We need to constantly hold in our mind the next step necessary to reach the ideal we are striving towards. Thoughts are the materials we use to build, and the imagination is the mental workshop. Have a calm certainty that you will achieve your goals. Hold in mind the condition desired and affirm it as an already existing fact. This is the true power of affirmations discussed within the law of attraction and the Master Key System. Constant repetition leads to thoughts becoming a part of us. It becomes who we are. We have to begin actually changing ourselves and making ourselves what we want to be in order to become the type of person that would attract that specific manifestation into their life. When you follow a thought into an action, conditions follow as a result of the action, and joy or suffering will be the reward, depending on the cause. Visualization in this process should be used as a tool that strengthens the foundation of what we're already thinking. For example, if you want love, try to realize that the only way to get love is by giving it. The more you give, the more you will get, and the only way in which you can give it is to fill yourself with it until you become a magnet. But if we send out thoughts of fear, worry, jealousy, anger, and hate, well, like we've talked about, this is exactly what we will reap in our own lives.
If you look at what you really want, what every human being wants is, he wants to live joyfully, he wants to live peacefully. In terms of his relationships, he wants it to be loving and affectionate. Or in other words, all that any human being is seeking for is pleasantness within himself, pleasantness around him.
The universal mind can be depended upon to find the ways and means for bringing about any necessary manifestation. We must, however, create the ideal, and this ideal should be perfect. Wisdom, strength, courage, and all harmonious conditions are the result of power, and we have seen that all power is from within you first before it's expressed from anything or anyone else around you. Likewise, every lack, limitation, or adverse circumstance is the result of weakness, and weakness is simply the absence of power. The solution, then, is to simply develop power by exercising it in your own life. Abundance won't come out of the sky, but from a conscious realization of the law of attraction and the intention to bring it into operation for a certain, definite, and specific purpose, and the will to carry out this purpose will bring about the materialization of your desire by the natural law of transference. When any object or purpose is clearly held in thought, its manifestation is merely a question of time. The time and thought which most people waste in aimless efforts would accomplish wonders if properly directed towards a specific goal. How many people do we know or see that waste their energy hating or trolling on others? Imagine what could be accomplished if that same time and effort was directed towards a specific, concentrated goal. But unless you can fully concentrate on a specific goal, you will have a vague, indistinct, and blurred outline of your ideal, and the results will be in accordance with your mental picture, vague. You must first have the knowledge of your power, second, the courage to dare, and third, the faith to do. We'll see you in part 2 of the series, where we go into even more depth on the law of attraction, using chapters 13 through 24 of the Master Key System.